I'll hear about it after.
Yeah. All right, 7 o'clock, so we'll get started. Today's Monday, October 27th. This is the facilities committee meeting. We have quite a full room here. Going around the table, we have Dr. Farina, Mike Rowrap, Ms. Fluke, I'm JP Prego, Bishop, Valerie Cunningham, and Dr. Rich. So to get started, I'll just look for an approval of the minutes. I need a motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
You do it.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving right along. Old business. Perfect track.
So this is kind of just a short update. Those proposals are due this Friday. We have a lot of interest. Pretty much, I think most of the people that got the RFP are submitting proposals, which is good. We've had multiple site visits. So I think that's going to be that's going to be a really good thing. Then I'll take next week to compile that data to try to, figure out how we want to go about that, the next move on that.
Okay. Do you have like a rough off the cuff number of how many you're going to get?
I would think at least 4.
At least 4.
I would think at least 4. I think 5 is definitely possible. And then you never know, somebody, it's on the website, so somebody that I don't even know of maybe working on it too. So I do think there was good interest, so I think we're in good shape. So I'll have an update for you on that.
Okay. All right. Moving on to the review, the facilities documentation and committee requested information. Dr. Roach is getting everything set up here.
Sure.
What building is that?
I always think it's Moravian or something in Bethlehem. I don't think it is, but.
Is he on the water?
Very nice.
Is that the Lehigh?
Oh, look at that
I
one.
was going to say, it's
Yeah.
probably Germany.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like Amsterdam or
Yeah.
something like that?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Wow. That one looks like the one at Penn State, the science.
It's AI, it's not a real place.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so the information that's under B, old business review, the first 3 are links. So the first one is the full KCBA feasibility study, 375 million pages. A lot of information that's in there, but it's all there at that link. The next is a document that was previously shared with the board. Dr. Farina had put together, pulling out the facility studies, some Giza crosswalk, the cost comparison. So that information is there provided, and that actually is the basis of the presentation that we'll go through here as well. And then finally, November 28, 2022, in this exact setup was a presentation from KCBA, kind of again over the shoulder hearing, what was his name? Mike Kelly, thank you. Talk about the, the study as they were finishing up the information and providing feedback. So that's the study again. I think it was around 40,000, something in that range there for that study. So again, a lot of information there. There's enrollment projections, and there is information about the district itself, and then obviously it gets into the nitty gritty of each building and all sorts of potential renovations. So what I did was pulled out the information salient to the conversations about requested information that took place here about the 4th and 5th grade center, and specifically the education center. So all buildings will be on here, but really with the focus on what's the potential for 4 or 5 and the potential for this building. So I'll share the information and walk you through. So this is one slide that was right out of that information. So you'll see this slide at the end, kind of recapping what we talked about. This talks about the information from that study, Giza 1, Phase 1, so there were still some deferred ECMs that we weren't able to afford. It was $7 million or whatever that was put into that initial phase. The district takeaways there, so we definitely did some great work on the Giza study, delivered the efficiency, but there's still some core things that are unresolved. And decisions for the board at that time, which are still probably here, is an elementary strategy was to plan to potentially renovate the 4th to 5th grade center, close, reconfigure. The most cost effective, as you'll see as we go through this, was to renovate the 4-5 in terms of that. I think that Mike would say that we had a good structure. We were in a good position, that we had a little room, good bones, those type of things for a piece, and you'll see the impact of moving forward 5 that's up through the presentation. High school modernization was most urgent, and it continues to be the most urgent need. Yes, obviously put some work in this past summer, but there's lots of learning spaces as well as other things that are at that building. And what I've heard from before I got here was that money should have went to the high school versus the middle, whatever. We're beyond that at this point. We're doing what we have and sharing the information that we have. The education center, right, no surprise, this was discussed a couple years ago, maintain and or renovate. And then athletics was here phased in. They had a whole lot of suggestions in there. You'll see field houses and all sorts of new fields and bathrooms and all sorts of stuff, well beyond the scope of what was shared last year for that. So the overall message, again, you'll see this again, renovating the 4-5 was $37.6 million lowest. That's the lowest of the options you'll see in terms of renovations, and then investing in the high school modernization. So a renovation there. And depending on how much work you wanted to do, they were projecting, again, 3 years ago, 40 to 58. Let's just roll that 50 to 78 right now, something like that. But we obviously don't know that. So,
Yeah, I think that's key to note that these are.
2022, 23 numbers, yep.
Couple years
We all
ago.
know what's happening.
So coming out right out, Paul Pluckin is right out of this piece. This is the renovation piece they had, specifically talking about elementary facility options, renovating 4-5, full renovation of the building. That was the recommendation, least expensive. And then if you want to close 4-5 and expand Hereford and Marlborough, there would need to be renovations and additions at both schools to house all the students that are there. Even though it came out 6.5 years ago, they all came in. Again, not being here on some of those decisions, there were reasons why they were there. So again, most costly, but it does restore the K-5 model, which some may appreciate, keeping the students together a little longer. The next one, close 4-5, expand the middle school for 5th grade. So Doug Ken would be here, he would tell you there's a nice form right in front there that you could build out, but again, you're now building on $48 million mid-range cost impact middle school program. Lots of things, and I'll show you some of the impact of having 5th grade there. Logistical things, some of them not insurmountable, but just some impact things, dealing with now crossing, having a 5th to 8th building, which the district had in the past. I learned that when I did my podcast interview with Mr. Vigilante. When he first worked here, he started at 5 to 8 middle school, so it's not insurmountable. And then everyone's favorite, building a new elementary school, K-5 somewhere, slightly more than renovating the 4-5. So that was coming right out of the study of some of those options. So the discussion, I think, at this table was what would happen if we got rid of 4-5 and or if we got rid of this building, what the impact would be 4 down, 5 up, those things. So that's where we really tried to focus this. So the top part there is right out of the study. Again, I met with each principal to talk about these things. We sat down, we walked the hallways, we went over numbers, we went over rooms, and this information, just trying to give it to you as neutral as possible. So everything on top there was what's there. The overall capacity of the building, 675. In 21-22, you can see the enrollment was 483, and the current enrollment is 473. So it's about a 70% capacity, depending upon the class size. If you smaller class size, have more room, have more classroom space. Also at Hereford, we have 3 AS classrooms, I believe.
Correct.
And then that's kind of in the round there. And then there are some spaces that have a teacher in a room. They probably don't need the full room, but they're a specialist and could be in a smaller space, but right now they're branched out there. So, and again, you can see the needs that KCB has said that back there. Some of the EC, some of the work has been done here and there. I'll let Mr. Rourke chime in if he knows. But the cost there, they said if close 4-5, what they thought would need to happen, because don't forget at Hereford they have those, I don't want to say, they have weird rooms in the kindergarten, in the center of the kindergarten, they have rooms that aren't all the way across. The rooms aren't full the way across, so renovating some of those spaces to actually make full classrooms. So I took fourth grade and rolled it back with this year's enrollment. So if right now you would roll back, take fourth grade out of 4-5, put it back in Hereford, those are the numbers. 597 total kids, and now you're at 88% capacity. And this is some of the impact. Grade level classroom changes will be required from where they have their pods of K, 1, 2. That's, some adjustments there. There'll be some renovations due to classroom walls and partitions that aren't necessarily put together. You want to have some separation. Could have a possible impact on class size, meaning that if we only had X amount of spaces, and then right now at Hereford, there's 6 of each classroom. If you went to 5 of each classroom, your class size increases. You do free up a class, but your class size increases. There'll be some shared spaces for special supports and special ed programming. We would obviously need an increased need of the encore teachers. So your teachers that are teaching flight and science, and not science, flight, art, music, and library, they would all, they would need another day of that person right now. And that person, the person's there. They're currently at 4-5. They would just have to have another day there to run the other 5 or 6 sections at that. But again, an increase in encore staff, and then obviously impact on food service with additional lunch. Overall school schedule would have to be adjusted. Would be add another lunch or however that would work with the additional students. Again, not insurmountable, but that's what the numbers would look like. Definitely a little tighter than what's there.
And this is all of fourth grade? It's not like a split?
This is whoever was at Hereford last year stays there.
Okay.
So they would have stayed here this year. So it's
Okay.
just the Hereford fourth grade.
Just the Hereford, okay.
Yeah, just the Hereford
Thanks.
fourth grade, yeah. And then you can see if we would have kept K through 5 at Hereford, so the current 4 and 5 were way over capacity. I didn't even want to waste time on going through a bunch of things. You could see the capacity in terms of renovation addition definitely required, and that's some of the things probably that would be in KCBA. Or you're talking about modulars or other areas that you wanted to build on for. So just simply the capacity and the number of classrooms that are there are well beyond that. So we're going to see a similar format as we go through. That's Hereford in the capture there. So next is Marlborough. Again, the top part is right out of the study. The only thing we updated there was this year's numbers. So 21-22 was 439, 76% capacity. And right now it's at 419. Again, you can see the same things, what was completed, deferred ECMs, the recommendations of what other things need to get approved there, and then the cost is 1213 according to a renovation to house the students back in there. So again, I did same scenario, just if we took the Marlborough students that are at 4th grade, left them there for this year, you'd be at 90% capacity, and again, some of the same issues, but a little different. So we have 2 MCI classrooms and 1 pre-K counts classroom, which are not our programs. We have our students, I think, in the MCI classrooms. We probably have some of our own Marlborough students, and maybe Hereford, in the pre-K counts. That's a classroom that we picked up this year from the IU, where it's not school age, it's just below there, but that's being paid. It's all housed. We house it, but it's all staffed and paid for through state funding and through the IU. So those classes would have to go. We would have to say, we can't share these spaces. We need those 3 classrooms for students coming back. Again, possible impact on class size, number of classrooms. There's some more shared spaces. Again, increased need for encore teachers, which are probably already hired if 4-5 were to not be there. But again, impact on food services and overall schedule, trying to manage the schedule with another grade level, lunches, recess, all those other things. Again, not insurmountable, just getting a little tight. And then you can see the capacity for 5th grade. If you kept all the Marlborough K-5s, where you're well over capacity.
The IU classrooms, do we get any kind of?
We're a part of a fair share across the county.
Okay.
So I'll let you want to describe it. It's probably do better.
Sure,
Yeah.
so they look at classrooms for the county to service students, and so every year the district, the MCIU inquires if we're willing to do our fair share classrooms. And so we are the farthest away from the IU, but close for other districts. So this is actually the first time we've been able to offer up fair share classrooms because we changed the composition of our elementary schools. The good news is, for us, we pay, but we're saving dollars on transportation from a financial perspective, and our kids get to be with us, which is really great. And we do have students, but fair share, they offer it up, and that could be at any level, elementary, middle, or high school. Right now, we're only doing elementary.
Thank you.
So that's Marlborough's synopsis of keeping 4, and then you can see keeping 5 over capacity. Then we went to the middle school. So this conversation with the administration there was about moving fifth up, meaning, having them go that way. So again, capacity 922, current enrollment at 682, adding the full fifth grade, 239 brings you to 921. So 99.9% capacity if you move fifth there in the existing structure. Again, some challenges, grade level configuration change. Right now, it's 876. So there'll be some other classrooms that have to figure out if it's going to go 5, 6, 7. Potential shared spaces on some classrooms. Right now, the classrooms in those spaces are used 3 out of 4 periods of the block. So when 6th grade is off at Encore, those classrooms are open. 7th at Encore, but the other 3 blocks of the day, they're filled. So again, possible impact on class size. Right now, with a class of 239, 10 classes you're at 23.9 kids, 11 classes you're at 21. So that's the numbers we play for all general students for homeroom. So the homeroom in 5th grade would be between 10 and 12 homerooms, and don't forget those. Right now, they currently are on switch pairs. So Melanie would be the math and science teacher, and I would be the ELA and social studies teacher. So that's a different format from the middle school. So shared spaces for specialists. Some of the staff rooms, there's one on each floor in the middle school, like the workroom, that may need to be used for an office type of thing to really put everyone in there. So increased need for Encore teachers due to sections of 5th grade. I don't know, I guess they would be there, just a matter of how, I don't know if they would be able to work out that schedule perfectly because they'd have now 1 day over there, but we'd have to figure that out. And also the number of specials are different because the middle school is on 5 days, elementary on a 5-day versus middle school on a 6-day. So I think you'd have to have a bigger conversation about re-examining the 5th grade structure and the instructional methods. Again, currently 2 teachers, or are they going to go into a more middle school 5-teacher model where they go to math, science, English, that type of thing. And they're on a block, so what that would look like, I don't know at the 5th grade level, but that would have that. Obviously, impact on food service and overall structure. Additional lunch, right now the lunches are for a full grade, so that would be time-wise in there. And then there's no playground, no recess in the current middle school schedule. 4th and 5th grade currently have that. So again, that's not insurmountable in terms of playground, but the capacity I think is definitely something to be concerned about with that. So that lays out the Hereford, Marlborough, and middle school on the 4th grade remaining and 5th grade rolling up without any renovation or any other discussion. That's the down and dirty from just talking, just getting the research, walking the hallways and trying to see and just give you the information. So looking at the 4th grade center, so I looked at this the other way. So if the 4th grade center would have remained and this building were to go, this is what this scenario looks like. So again, the top there is your 4th and 5th grade center. And you can see the capacity is just over in the 50s, probably just getting close to 60. So Mr. Vigilante and I walked the hallway to try to figure out what it would look like if the additional space that's there would be for the Ed Center, that this building would not be in existence anymore. So based upon that, we walked in keeping the classrooms where they currently are. If you know, when you walk in the main part of the building, off to your left are the majority of the classrooms, upstairs, downstairs, library, all that kind of stuff. To your right is the office, and then you have down below, all the way out, the gym and the flight space. So we counted 15 available classroom spaces. Some that are currently in use, like you may hear there's a cafe in the lower level for kids to go for a reward with it. That would need to go away. Right now, that's just extra stuff. There's somebody has a student library down there that kids go to as a reward. Again, it's not a classroom space. It's a classroom space that's just being used right now. So there's 15 available spaces in the building. 2 are at the end of the main hallway. So think about going in the main doors, making a right, going all the way down, kind of where the other entrance is. It looks like there's steps up to it. Those first 2 classrooms would be available because you just passed the nurse's office and the technology group. Then there's 4 classrooms in what I call the old 8th grade ring. Still upstairs, walk down towards those other 2 rooms, but make a left. There's a girls' bathroom. Now there's a gate, and there's 4 classrooms down there, 3 regular and 1 larger one, which I think was an art room at the end of the hallway. So 2 and 4 upstairs. Then there's 6 spaces in the lower hallway. So just right below the main office, there's 6 spaces. There are 4 classrooms, 1 smaller space classroom with steps and a weird, funky roof access and other storage. And then there's a small office right by the elevator, which I think is PTFS storage right now. So that's a little space down there. That's that hallway that, if you're walking from, right below the main hallway right down there. So if I come down the weird steps, make that hard turn around, and I'm going down the hallway, I have the small room here, 2 classrooms, and the PTFS room. On my left, there's a bathroom, there's a hallway to an exit, and then there's 2 science classrooms. Okay, so then we get to the steps to go downstairs, and then there's 3 more classrooms. So make the left by the gym or come into the gym lobby. Let's do that. Let's come into the gym lobby. To your right is 1 classroom. It's a health room. Art said it's used 5 times a year. Like, it's not overly used, but it's used, for students to go in and do something in there. And then to your left are 2 classrooms. Right now, the first classroom is kind of a middle school athletic training room. They have some setups there with tape and all that type of thing for that. And then there's a back room, which just has a lot of storage. So those are the 15 spaces spread out through the building.
So in a nutshell, they're not close together.
That's what's available in terms of that space that's there. So a couple of the conversations that Art and I had, and bounce this off of a couple people here. So if we had that as the space as the Ed Center, what would be an entrance? Would the main gym lobby be an entrance? Would the auxiliary gym no longer be an auxiliary gym? Would that be an entrance to an Ed Center from that back parking lot type of area there? That's off that back parking lot by the pole barn. We would be concerned with mixing of visitors in the Ed Center in student common areas. If it's the gym lobby area, the students are still walking down that lower hallway, down the steps, make a left, and then to go to the gym as well as go to the flight. If the main gym lobby was the main entrance, then we walk them right past. So some sort of wall would need to be built or something like that, as well as there's no discussion here about conference space or rooms for those type of meetings. So potential renovations with secure vestibule, man trap, entrance to direct access to students and concerns, and security doors in the hallway to keep separate spaces. So storage at the Ed Center, so if you go back there, what space will be potentially used for some storage? Yeah, some of this stuff's gonna go, we're working on the audit. There's definitely some technology pieces that can get cleaned up in there. There's also storage, in the back here for district-wide facility supplies, cleaning supplies, those type of things.
Mm-hmm.
So they're in the back cage area there.
And files.
And files.
Yeah.
I did not have that in there. So storage, district facility supplies, and then there's cheer practice back there. So I'm not sure if there's space at the 4 or 5 in what we shared for it to be storage. That definitely could be some. So meeting space, conference rooms needed at for Ed Center business and interaction with the community. Depending upon where an entrance, where the main entrance would be, we'd have some questions about accessibility to the main gym after hours, if there was another set of doors there, or if it was the gym, or would that gym be taken out? And then shifting board meetings, which is not a problem, I don't think, just have to find a new location, where there's another auditorium, a cafeteria, or other space for meetings. So those are some of the challenges or the information that we gleaned from the available space, 15 available classroom spaces that could be accessible.
What about you, parking?
Parking right now, the only place to really park would be that back lot by the maintenance area there.
Yeah, by the shed, yeah.
I mean, you can park elsewhere, but there's not, the parking on the street is sparse on the side of the school. It's got a lot sign there for drop off of the buses, because the buses, that's the busing area. So you can park there for a little while midday, but not there. Right now, the opposite street where the open link is pretty much parked all day long.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much parked all day. And then the little lot up by the main entrance is filled, and then the other lot is fairly filled, and then Art tries to keep a little area off for blacktop recess and chalk and that type of thing. So definitely be part of a challenge. But that's a space that's actually there. We walked in and tried to look at the different challenges that are there.
Thanks for doing him.
Yeah. So this is listed in the KCBA study. Changes in relocating, classrooms not designed for offices. They're thinking of cost of conversion. Removes pre-K elementary flexibility at the 4 or 5 if there was going to be, I guess, in this KCBA. PD does not reimburse for admin conversions. I didn't know that, but I don't know if they're even reimbursing anything right now. Yeah, I'm sure they're retrofitting the 4 or 5 is more expensive than renovating the current building. Shared sites, complicated parking and traffic. So, the parking lot, when parents come in for drop-off, they drive down 5th, go through the parking lot, and then the long back thing, and then they're out that way. So that we kind of go around. It doesn't impact the parking lot. It's just tight. I think about it.
You can't get the spots when the line is long.
Yeah. So that was their recommendation at that time was to retain and renovate. I didn't necessarily agree with all their renovations. They wanted to move the boardroom and all sorts of stuff, but Let's see what else we got here. So examine the Ed Center, so this is the square footage of the Ed Center. So considerations for closing, and again, some of these are not insurmountable, they're just trying to put information out there, right? Where to relocate to have a space if you want to have a welcome area. I mean, the area that's at the end of that hallway, on the main hallway up those steps, is not ADA compliant at all, right? Just steps to get up there. So if that was thought of as an area, if you're able to get up, that's fine. I mean, you can get in the other area, but if that's where you thought an entrance could be, that's, I guess, possible. There's a classroom right there and another one next to it. Parking, accessibility, common workspace versus privacy. If you were planning on doing something where you weren't going to put any renovations in, Andrew and I wouldn't have to call each other. We'd be like, hey, Alan, we did this, we would be able to do that. But definitely human resources, registration, payroll, is definitely some sensitive departments that need some privacy. I guess we could explore virtual work options if that was a part of that conversation, if we really were going to go and didn't have enough space for people, we could take a look at that. Boardroom space, again, committee, monthly meetings, monthly public meetings, not insurmountable, we just got to pick a space and have it. Can be relocated, and those can be relocated. Storage of equipment, facility operations, potential costs. This is a polling place, so that, again, not insurmountable, not probably our problem, but it is part of the community that this is an area, as well as 4 or 5, to be a part of that. And then that was their recommendation for that. Was to keep this at this point. Then the high school. So again, you can see the capacity and where they currently are, and they're currently in the 85%. So I'm sure if you added another 200 something in there, that wasn't going to work with the. I actually did talk to Mr. Flanagan about 8th grade moving up, what that would look like, that type of thing. Again, just as a conversation, but didn't go too far. He would be fine with that if it was a full renovation on the high school, I'm sure. But but again,
There's learning stairs.
Yeah.
Put the whole grade on the learning stairs.
Yeah.
So again, you could see the proposal there. I didn't really doctor this too much. You could see partial, and this is the conversation in the report. If you go in there, was really talking about building out onto the front, have a new area there, revamp science rooms for some science instruction, and kind of building out, almost taking the building from where it is out to the curb, getting rid of the Starship Enterprise.
No.
I know. We can sell it. We can sell that. Just
Done.
Going out that way to modernizing some of those spaces, as well as again, lots of information in that study as well. So, but that is the most urgent project that I think we've all been talking about for a while. Some help there, and as the work we did last summer, although healthy, not sexy in terms of that aesthetics, but definitely science. And then I know Dr. Farina wanted to put in here, and we mentioned at ad hoc about truly have a family and consumer science course, as well as a classroom, all those types of things. There is a classroom you said that has ovens, but really not as modern as.
In the high
A
school?
oven, okay.
So, yeah, it's the life skills class now.
Yeah, they're life skills classes. I used to take basket classes in them, and there were all the kitchens in there.
Yeah, it used to be the FCS.
Yeah.
Well, it was home ec.
Oh, man.
Yeah, exactly. It was so much.
All right, so that's the high school again, and just sharing that to close out all the roles. And then again, this is the same slide as you saw before, but just key decisions that we thought need to bring forward. You guys were asking for information about 4 or 5, and the answer hopefully provided that for you. And if you need more, let us know. KCB study, again, what I heard was we need a professional. We have that. We have the information that's there. And those were the decisions. Elementary strategy, renovating 4 or 5, which is not really even on the table at this point, I mean, from administration doing additional renovations. But high school modernization, which is on the discussion, Ed Center maintain, and then athletics phased in over 10 years, and that's a conversation for another day.
I did talk to Mike Kelly when, because KCBA was at the PSBA, oh, that's too many initials for me, at the PSBA Leadership
It's
Conference.
actually PSBA, PASA.
I know it is, yeah. I cut off that part. I cut off that part.
Yeah.
And he said if we had any questions, they'd be happy to come up and talk about whatever we wanted to talk about.
Mike's great, but his short conversations, for short presentations, I'm sure.
I'm not sure, no.
They're worse than yours, Adam.
I know, right? That's bad.
Yeah.
So that's really the slides that we put together to share the information. Took some time, again, talked to the principals, and it was an exercise. And just so you're aware, this was on our district liaison meeting with the association, because they were concerned, right? They hear, and you said, to see the article, he said, this is not what we're recommending, we're doing our due diligence, we're having the conversation, and I said, we're gonna, when I said, we're gonna present the information, and you're more than welcome to show up. So, you know, again, that's just where we are, so.
Alan, this is great information.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I appreciate all the work that went into this.
Is, will this be available?
Can be, I mean, again, we can slide, we can put a link right on that. I didn't want to put a link ahead of time because I want to be able to walk it through.
Yeah.
But we can put a link on the agenda and put it back out there, or on the minutes.
I think that'd be
That'd be
Sure,
great.
yes.
Yeah, and just for the committee, you know, I made the suggestion back at the May Finance Committee meeting about the building stuff. And I'm just a big believer in data-driven decision-making. We can't just tell the public, oh, we can't do it. Now we can tell them why, you know? So it's going to be up to the current board, and more importantly, the future board, when it changes, as to what's next. We can tell the public we can't do these options, now we can show them why.
Right.
But folks, big picture, like, holy cow, what's next? I mean, and I had mentioned to Melanie at the conference, do we start talking referendum? I hate even mentioning that. But if we are going to address that high school issue before it falls apart, we're, you know, because we don't have any state money right now. We don't know what kind of federal money we're ever going to get. Just thinking ahead. That's all I'm just trying to do is
Not to
think
put
ahead.
Keith on the spot, but I will, but I know there's conversations at the Western Center, who, when that bond is coming up, they're saying, just keep paying it, just keep putting that money here. And I keep saying, we have stuff to do in our district. I mean, we went and paid those renovations, and I know they want to upgrade and do things that are going on. But I'm sure Drew is someone that's watching when those payments are gonna cliff. And then they're saying, no, just keep paying that, and that'll be our capital fund, so we can keep doing what we're doing. I'm not anti-Western Center, trust me. But I think we have to know that that's going on, because that is money, like, you know, the middle school, I don't know how long that out is, much longer than the Western Center, but that's money that, again, is already in our budget and that we're paying for, that we could utilize for some of that, but I know the Western Center is
All right, as I
continuing.
gave my update the other night, I mean, we have a feasibility study. We have 2 firms coming in, give us proposals for what they can do for feasibility studies, you know. So over the course of the next year, we're going to be deciding to do something down there, you know. But, you know.
Well, that's because also there, we continue to hear from all of our districts, and, you know, Papa Brook is one of them, that we still have kids that can't get in the programs. We still have.
Yes, we need to expand their
You know,
enrollment. We need to
want
change
to get higher
programs.
numbers
We
in
need to
there.
give updated
You know, so like
programs.
you can only get so much. Again, we talked reconfiguration. Well, at one point it was 3 years, then it went to 4 years. You know, in terms of meeting the number of years that are there. And Mr. Livergood would talk about completers versus whatever the term is, getting certificated. Sometimes if you don't go for a period of time, programs like cosmetology, they need all those hours to get to where they have to go. So they're trying to get creative, that's been the challenge down there. But one of the challenges has been this discussion for a capital fund, trying to fund it from ongoing, first was the refunds, which is a calculation different than the articles of agreement. So all the board members and future board members will probably get invited to what do they call it, a convention, I guess it's called?
Most likely, yes.
Most likely a convention to go and talk about, all 27 members going to have conversations about some of that work that's there, or a change of the articles of agreement, because when they were written back whenever, I guess Springford had a big piece to it.
It changes on market value and things like that. So at the time that we did it 20 years ago, Springford was on the hook for a pretty penny. You know, and then we had
That's
an
all right.
amendment to the. Were you there then? Before you got there.
That was before me.
But, you know, we changed, made an amendment to the Articles of Agreement to do it for this one project, and that was it. You know, so if we want to do another renovation project, we're going to have a convention, sort of like convention of states, to do something to the Constitution. But, you know, it's a fun time. We met half a dozen times, 27 board members and X number of administrators, the superintendents, assistant superintendents, business managers, and I forget who all else. So,
I won't be sad I'm missing that.
yeah, I know.
That's not the state dinner, they're not tricking us, are they?
No, that's not, no.
Yeah, a lot of challenges.
They're gonna serve alcohol at that, and get you boozed up.
Yeah.
No, well, there's no alcohol on that site.
Kidding.
Okay.
Everyone's
That was a
kidding.
joke.
A lot of challenges from a lot of different angles, and, you know, for the board members that are here tonight, this is why I'm really advocating for that policy change to allow more opportunities for outside funding. We just gotta think progressively and think ahead, and that's why I'm, you know, especially for the athletic stuff, because when it comes down to, you know, laptops or turf fields, we're gonna have to make a decision. So, yeah, here we are.
So let me just say, like, thank you for putting all this together. This is exactly what we were looking for. I think it gives us the answers that we were looking for. And, you know, some of us may feel like all right, we're gonna have this conversation before, but it's probably been in bits and pieces. I think this kind of consolidates it and kind of nails the point of like, no, we can't do this. It's not gonna save us. It's not gonna help us. You know, even if we tried, the amount of money we'd have to spend to do renovations to one building or another, who knows
And none of
how
them
much
are
we would get for
ideal.
the one that we would sell, and it doesn't make sense, in my opinion. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I just don't see it with this data.
Drew, you have access to this, right?
I should.
Yeah, so maybe if you're doing the minutes.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can just link
Yep.
it in there.
I don't know if
I'll
any
put it in
other.
board update as
I
well.
have a question about the high school modernization. You said you would pull that out, that would make, did you say more classrooms? Could it be?
It could be whatever, it could be whatever, whatever we wanted to be. Right now, they just gave us a synopsis from our last conversations where we were talking about science classrooms and then modernizing, trying to find additional space, trying to build out in the building envelope. So the suggestion from KCB at the time, and it's in the study, was to kind of take the Starship Enterprise arches off and build out almost to the curb, if not a little further, in the front of the building there, with some additional classroom space on the corner there. Redesign of offices. The offices would go back into a classroom. Like the main office now would be reconfigured to a classroom of some sort. That space up there, and then kind of have a new main entrance, that type of area, just on the front. That's just one suggestion of an area. It could be whatever. I mean, if we're going into that, that's what was proposed based upon the money that they were suggesting in the other areas that are there.
And I don't want to get misquoted here, but I think that was like 15 to 20 million just for that.
Yeah.
But
It's a
what's
lot.
on
Kind of
screen?
seems familiar.
I don't know.
That sounds reasonable,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's-
back then.
Part.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just the front
On the
part.
other side that comes out to Main Street, did we buy that or do we own that?
What's that?
Yeah, we own it.
We own it,
Yes.
yeah. Is that in
The
the
old-
thought to build that?
I
Do
mean,
anything with that?
there would be great hopes that with purchasing, what's called
The wood property.
wood
Yeah,
property,
the wood
up
property.
on Main Street. There's a great conversation that we would like to have about getting an entrance going up the hill, so you're at the high school, you pass the Starship, make the left, come up, and then go to the right and go right up to Main Street, and, you know, a driveway heading up there. What we were being told was that they didn't think it would be a full light, they thought it would be a right-only out and right-only in type of thing, but we don't know, we didn't take the Red Hill yet, that was just the first
Yeah.
discussions of that. But that property, that space and property and extra grass cutting is now ours up there, and we fixed the sidewalk. But that was eventually, if something like this happens, how do we work that in there to alleviate the overall traffic piece of having an additional exit and entrance from that space?
Alan, can we never have access to that road that's there now?
That goes out to 8th Street, right?
Yeah,
That goes
yeah,
out-
yeah.
no, we battled with Red Hill on that, we
Yeah.
barely got it through, we had to have it manned for a little while during that. That's like a fire access only type of thing with a key. They were not interested in making that a paved area to make it a normal thoroughfare. So,
And I don't think they wanted the traffic through the little.
Probably not.
No.
Yeah.
but we never even got to talk to Red Hill about it. It was more the architects, like, you know, we can definitely, you know, again, if you go into the study, you're gonna see 1 or 2 fields up there in that general area up there with regrading another field or 2. But the driveway up there would be, again, that takes it a right out and a right in, which would help tremendously in some of those areas, probably in the parking area. But then we also have the balance of keeping some open space, right? You probably know better than I do. When you start the academy and spend over, you gotta have some other space open.
Yeah, and then you get the DEP permitting and all that stuff, so.
Yep.
So, well, yes, that's why we purchased that
Disturbing
property a couple
neighbor.
years ago with that hope, that if that, we got to the point of having the renovation. But I agree with, Peg didn't say it this way, but classrooms versus parking lot would be, we know what that would be, but definitely get a cost for it to see what would be helpful for that, that space.
And that Starship Enterprise, by the way, that was state-of-the-art in 1968, just so you know. We had a planetarium, and we were one of the first schools in the area to have a pool.
Yeah, well, the planetarium is where the guidance office is, from what I'm being told.
Oh, so-
That planetarium was so cool.
Yeah.
That was such a cool thing. Yeah, good times.
Any other questions or comments on?
Well,
Yes.
Doug Roche reviewed your last slide there. Yeah, so the key decisions for the board, we have to decide what we're doing here for long term. 10 years is what we have to decide over the next few months.
But what do you mean by 10 years? The next 10 years?
What, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if you were referring to, what I heard was someone said the 4-5 is only good for 10 years, but that's not what KCBA said.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying we have to lay out a strategy
Yeah, yeah.
for our next 10 years
Okay.
as to how we're going to rectify all the issues that we have now. The high school modernization, the athletics, I mean, that's top 2 out of those 5 right now. So, maybe when we do the high school modernization, we look at expanding to have additional classrooms and grades in there. This is something we're going to have to think about. I'll say, we're going to have to spend money. It's just a matter of how we're going to spend it wisely.
Or how are you going to get it?
Yeah.
Where's it coming from,
Well,
is the question.
that's the other problem.
And I think it's only right for the board and the future board to be honest with this community and let them know that taxes are going to go up significantly. No matter if you
Whether
do.
step equals 0 or not.
Yeah, no matter what, no matter if it's that or we go to referendum, which is a long shot.
That's a long shot,
Nobody wants to do it, but,
Yeah.
it's the hard truth of what we're facing right now.
That's the reality.
What I don't think you're hearing in the short term is Ed Center renovations. Like, I don't hear us talking about that. Elementary strategy, I think 4-5 is a good spot. I referenced that, I keep hearing this tenure thing. Someone said it at some meeting and that's what it was, when that's not what we heard from KCBA, and it's not, and it is managing what's going on there. We're still working on roofs, we're still doing those things, so, that's an important.
Alan, I think this was rolled out a couple of years ago and shot down, but I just want to reaffirm, the open spaces, classrooms and stuff at 4-5 could not be rented out because of safety, I would assume.
Depends upon during what day and what time. There's some space there that could be used for,
Yoga,
I guess, but when?
yeah.
Would it be during the day? We'd have to put up some things, I would think,
What do you think, shared office space?
Sorry?
You thinking shared office space or something?
Well, I don't know.
Dr. Farina has an idea, but I don't want to have her, she wants to put it on a science
I
board.
do.
All
So she
right.
has her
Wait for my
concept board.
trifold.
All right,
Okay.
So,
good to know.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
well, all the administrators are
Get my
voluntold,
puffy
be
thing out.
volunteering.
Volunteering, yes, I'm told.
Go ahead.
Just a quick question. Did you guys seek out what the market value was of this building before this time?
I did not.
Probably a realtor could give you a guess, but other than that, you'd have to pay for
Is
it.
it on Zillow?
It is not on Zillow.
Okay.
Oh, it's not.
I was a very small
All right.
note. It's not on Zillow.
Yeah.
Truth be told, and Melanie, you'll relate, I would not want to get rid of the 4-5.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
we have
we've
all
got
the
gym
fields,
space
too.
there, those gyms they come in handy.
And all the fields,
No,
we have
that's
to
another
think about,
story.
you put that on the list.
This switch subject.
What happens
That's
if
another
you
story.
put a 4-5 and there's,
That's
the fields go
I'm
due?
hoping that someone's bored in it.
Yeah, there you go, okay, gotcha.
So
It won't be
maybe,
my board.
maybe to Peg's point here about how to pay for it, so I'm just looking at the debt schedule, and in the 28-29 fiscal year, our debt service drops off $700,000. In the 29-30 year, it drops off another was that $673,000. So that's a total of almost 1.4 million drop over 2 years in the debt service. So a lot of times what PFM likes to do is they sort of stagger these bonds where one drops off and another one picks up. So there's your point to get, you can leave that budget as is. I mean, ideally, you would have those bonds come on at that point when others are dropping off. Keep your debt service relatively flat, and that's how you can borrow more money for a renovation.
Good to know.
But that's 28, what did I say, 29?
29.
Yeah.
So.
And those are the two $10 million bonds.
It's
Because the
2019
third one is the
and
$26 million
2021.
one.
In the meantime, stock up on duct tape.
Yep.
And any major renovation is gonna take till then anyways.
Yeah, but it's not like we have a whole lot of extra time, because I think if you try to plan a major renovation, I mean, you probably want to start real soon, I would think.
Yeah, because we would need to go to the design phase,
Yeah.
the concept phase, and then to know what we want.
Yep.
Right, the design professional is gonna need to know, like you asked about like classrooms, they're gonna need to know all that, and then to design it, so.
And Mike, are you speaking to the high school?
To the high school mainly, yes. But anything that we were to do in those dollar signs would take years to get off, get running.
18 to 24 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could all these offices here move into that front part of the high school building? Would it fit or no?
You'd have to make it, it could, if that would be a part of the renovations, was to build out. But I think if you think about the number of spaces that are here, right, we have to count out the number of offices, you're probably at close to 20. And then if that's gonna be, there are high schools that have an entrance to the high school and an entrance to the Ed Center that are just two separate areas. There's definitely a cross through somewhere, so that would be again, if you're gonna do something at the high school, we have a draft suggestion from KCBA, but it could be whatever we wanna be within the budget that we think we can have. But I think some of those areas, FCS was one, a recent one, definitely some science our science classes are not, ideal for science instruction and what we're currently doing with experiments, those type of things, and that's not coming from an old science teacher. But
You're not old.
Yeah.
There's their previous science teacher. But there's definitely some spaces that need to bore out there and modernize the classrooms, right? I mean, you get too far into a renovation, right? You're gonna be talking about lockers and really going in, again, how much you wanna spend is what they'll do for you. While we're not fans of the learning stairs where they knock the ball down and have these big stairs that no one really uses, but they look cool for a little while in the magazine.
Yeah.
We want to be more practical. So, yeah, it can be anything we want. Like if we want to build onto the high school wherever and have the Ed Center be there or a renovation somewhere else, that could be,
Part of the
Keep
time.
the offices, you gotta keep the building.
Yeah, I guess, like I said, there's many options, I mean, whatever's decided.
We
If
should
it
take
wasn't-
we should take a road trip to State College and see what they did for the high school. They renovated on site and did that.
The stairs, yeah, they're nice. They're cool, I just don't know how much,
They're very common right now.
Yeah.
They're, it's the student socialization gathering space.
Common area.
Yeah, common area. Yeah.
every step's got 17 outlets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's
great,
big.
it's cool. It's
But then where's the socialization if you're just on your phones?
Oh, yeah,
Just text each other.
Oh, okay, that's it. I knew that.
All right. Well, thank you again, everybody who
Yeah, lots to
chipped
think
into
about.
that
Yeah.
report and all that data. It's, like I said, it's exactly what we were looking to see. So, thank you. Moving on to security. Standing item.
We are fully staffed right now. There were some people that had called out and whatnot, Cardinal Point filled the positions. So we're in good standing as far as that goes.
Okay.
Good.
In the board update, did I add about the potential request at the high school? You read about that? Okay, so I haven't heard any feedback, so I want to meet Mr. Flanagan. His request was to take the 12 to 6 guard and move them into the booth, move the person in the booth who's, there'll be a new person because the person that was in the booth resigned, and move them into the office so that actually the attendance person would be in there for the first part of the day, and then the rest of the day, the guard would be in there, so that would be up to the office. So that was the request. I mean, it has security-based. I did explain, when the request first came in, it was like, we're gonna add some hours. I'm like, no, we're not. This, the only way it's gonna go is neutral right now, because we already have a contract. And I get the request, I understand it. I wanted to make sure that the committee was aware, because it wasn't changed from the 12 to 6, and there was a mixed reviews, one filling that position because of the hours, as well as the impact of that. So that's at least the plan for the rest of the year, was to have that move.
Thank you.
I didn't hear anything.
No, okay.
Anybody else?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
just took the opportunity to ask.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, new business.
Yeah, so I put here the DEP required 5-year geological survey for Hereford sewage or water treatment plant, probably should put there, or wastewater treatment plant. So the DEP came out to do an inspection. They come out about every 5 years. And there were some small things. They wanted some standard operating procedures written up, which are good for us to have anyway. So we submitted everything back. We're all good. The only outstanding thing is every 5 years, we're supposed to have per the permit.
A new rowboat?
A geologist to come out and do a survey of the land and the property, and the plant itself. So that is required, just like you would get an engineer, you get a professional stamped, they would do the drawings, stamp it and send it off. We actually have not done it in quite some time, so we're past that 5 years. So the maintenance person that helps us out with the treatment plants, him and I are vetting this process now. I don't have any other information. I'm not sure on cost yet of what that's going to be, but it's going to be professional service like we would do for, like if we were going to do a major renovation. So that is just in the works. It's nothing to worry about. We have some time left to do it, but we will be needing to do that. That absolutely does have to happen per the permit, so. I don't see any issues resulting from that. It's probably nothing.
Yeah.
That's what it's, that's just to determine that the site has not changed, the land has not changed, the dirt's the same, all that stuff.
Andrew, I think you just jinxed it though, so. Their face doesn't. Okay.
But yeah, that's all there, and I have nothing else. We didn't have any major breakdowns or any major pieces of equipment, so,
Any update on the casework and stuff?
Yes, so the furniture was all delivered, we're working through all that. The casework is in production. Before I got here today, before this meeting, they're looking at the first or second week in December to deliver. And I think there's gonna be some, which we need to hop on, we need to get together. I'll get together with everyone tomorrow. I think there's gonna be some not issues, but some things we need to work through in order to get that installed while students are still there. So I will meet with Mr. Flanagan tomorrow on that and try to work all that out. But it is in production, it is on its way. So fingers crossed that whole project is done and completed by the end of December at this point. So.
How's the furniture looking? Good?
Good. Yeah, I think so.
Good.
It'll look better when the casework's in.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Open it up for public comment.
I would like an auction update.
So now that the furniture's in, we were waiting on all the furniture to get in. Once we confirm that we're all good on that realm, we will look at that space down at the basement of the high school, which I'll need help from a lot of different people on that to see if there's any, I know there's some kitchen equipment and stuff like that, but anything else that we want to put into the auction needs to get to the rink. And I think there's some spaces at 4-5 we need to look at as well. And once we get everything to the rink, I will reach out to the, at this point, I can't even remember.
Offers.
Yeah, who were we using for the auction? It was recommended to us
same
by
one
Western Center, yeah.
It was the same one.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we'll reach out to them, and we'll have to get in an agreement with them, but it sounds great. They come, they take it all, they deal with it, and, you know, I think they take 15 or 20% of the auction, so, and then we recoup the rest. So I think it's going to work out really well. There's some more legwork that has to happen.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't want to get rid of everything. I want to
No.
just, I want to make sure we still have some, you know, if schools need desks and chairs, we still have some stuff left, so.
And don't take any of the athletic equipment for 400, I kind of need that.
Oh, we wouldn't take anything that's being used or needed, no, for sure.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
All right.
Any committee member comments? The only one I have is, I guess this will be more of a question maybe to you, Mike, the administration. Are we gonna have anything worthwhile for our November meeting?
Well, the RFP,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
you know, and once I gather those proposals and we look through them, and obviously get some help from other people, you know, there may be a opportunity at some point to, you know, if we do want to start moving in that direction, you know, picking 1 or 2 to 3 of the companies to come in and do a presentation, or, you know, a Q&A following, so.
So it's not a decision, because I was thinking, like, time-wise, if you were bringing forward a recommendation, not that the committee's going to commit to it, I was just thinking logistically, right, we have this next meeting on the 24th, and then we have a board meeting, a week turnaround quick for reorg, which is really too quick to
Yeah.
have people voting on it, which really then puts it out in January. So if you want to do an impromptu, you know, come from, you know, 4 to 6 or whatever to see presentations,
Yeah.
that can be set up separately from a meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At some point.
Absolutely.
Okay.
November may be tough, I think it's just a tough month with the 3 weeks, but
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of it. So my question was more like if they're voting, but it doesn't sound like, I mean, that's not where we
I
are.
don't think.
No, that's not, that's not what
No.
I'm, that's, yeah.
Yeah.
But I always think about things in terms of approvals, right? So
Yeah.
we have
Yeah.
the 13th of November, then we have board approval, then December 1, then nothing until January 9. I think it's the 9th.
But other than that, the answer for me would be no.
Okay.
That's the only thing out there.
And I'm thinking, unless there's any objections, to cancel the November meeting.
I think I'll object to this principle.
Thanks, Keith.
Keep it here as much as possible.
There you go.
No, I have no problem with that.
Don't you want to do one more, JP?
This is good.
Ended on a high note.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's almost like the new board's gonna have to decide.
Yep, it's on them.
Yep. And we do so
All right.
much legwork.
So then we'll scratch the November meeting then. So the next meeting will be in January sometime. TBD.
Yep.
So with that, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Just one comment.
Oh, sorry.
I won't die this time. JP did an
I'm
awesome
not
job.
dying with it.
You did an awesome job with facilities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. It was a good 4 years.
I miss you.
I had a good time.
Yeah. I will miss you. Yeah. Okay,
All right.
I'm done.
Now motion to
I'm done
adjourn.
now.
Motion.
Any discussion? Nope. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Are you gonna come and sit on this side now?
Yep.
Yep.
Harass everybody from the audience.